reconnecting that ecosystem between the young entrepreneurs. And I'm not going to use the word old because it's potentially offending people. I think we should probably change the way you describe senior and experienced water professionals is perhaps a better way to say it, Will. But
seasoned,
seasoned.
Seasoned, like a bride.
Well, welcome to the stream, an unscripted, unedited, free-flowing conversation featuring guests who reject the status quo with a bias for action. My name is Tom Freyberg, an environmental journalist and content director focusing on water.
And my name is Will Sarni. I'm a water strategy consultant doing my part to solve wicked water problems.
Today, you're going to hear all about innovation and the challenges of the water sector in Ghana, as well as innovation, the rise of the social enterprise, and looking ahead. And we're pleased to welcome Jacob Amengor, who is the Water Quality Assurance Officer for Ghana Water Company, as well as the founder of iWASH Africa. So Jacob, coming in from Ghana today, how are you? Welcome.
Yeah, Tom, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, my man. Well, you and Will go back a little while, but also you've brought your top shirt game, as we knew you would, to the stream. You got the memo. You've seen the previous ones. So, and the same with you, Will. This is a new number or one that goes back?
Well, this goes back to when I met Jacob. Jacob sent me this shirt as a gift, and it's a real favorite. And Jacob, I consider you a very dear friend, colleague. So wonderful to have you on.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Well, Jacob, appreciate you joining us here today. We've got some really interesting things to talk to you about, as well as the key theme of kind of innovation that carries on through the stream. But I think to kind of give people listening some perspective, we're going to talk today about WASH, so water, sanitation and hygiene, challenges and the innovation around that. But you, in fact, you had a personal experience around WASH as a young child, which perhaps tell us more about that and how that was one of the sparks that drove you to create the social enterprise.
Yeah, so as a young child, I grew up knowing that really we had taps in our homes, but there was no water flowing through them. So we had these dugouts in the community which collected water, which we used to go and fetch. And so through that, I had diarrhea, and my mom took me to the hospital. I was given an injection, and it turned out to be a bad injection. So I had an injection nerve palsy, and I couldn't walk for 2 years. So for 2 years, I had to leave school and be in the house, and whilst my colleagues were in school learning. So with that experience, I didn't know what caused it. I didn't know what it was, but going through high school, then going to the university, I realized that it was because of that water source that we were using. That is why all these unfortunate incidents happened to me. So I had it in mind that I can also help other people or other children not to suffer that kind of misfortune again.
Well, sorry to hear that about the incident during your childhood, but like you say, that's kind of given you that spark, that stimulus to go on and create something, which we will come on to later, because I know, Will, you've got some great insight on the innovation opportunities as well. But let's just, for people listening, kind of give some context in terms of the water situation in Ghana. Give us some sort of stats on the kind of the challenges and really the context of water and sanitation in where you're from.
Okay, so when it comes to water and sanitation, you realize that in Ghana, there are about 80% of urban dwellers that have access to potable water. But the access is in such a way that it is not continuous access, but they have intermittent access to water and clean water. Then when we come to sanitation, we have about 36% practicing basic sanitary, like hygiene conditions when it comes to sanitation, like 36% having clean toilets. Then so you can realize that the other 64% resort to other ways when it comes to having toilet facilities. So basically, that is the water and sanitation situation in Ghana. It's not all that good, and it is not all that very bad.
Mm-hmm. Will?
I like how you framed it, Jacob. It's not so bad, but not so good. I think that's pretty much, I think it's spot on. And unfortunately, globally these days. So, I mean, one of the many things I admire about you is you're a raging entrepreneur and have figured out how to launch a social enterprise, build the social enterprise, and think about it not in one dimension but two, in terms of integrating renewable energy with access to sanitation, and then obviously access to safe drinking water. It seems that one of the key pieces of this puzzle that makes you successful and the program successful is collaboration. You've talked about that. You talked about it in Tokyo in 2018. It seems like that is a key lever here that you're really pushing, but also that's the good news, the bad news. What more do we need to do on the collaboration side to scale and to help you?
Yes, I would say like the whole idea about iWASH Africa was built on the ideals of collaboration and co-creation, because I realized that solutions were being implemented for water and sanitation challenges across our country. But I realized that most of the times, the people giving out the solution just go and build a water system for the people. They just go and build a toilet facility for the people. So the people do not have any kind of ownership to whatever that is being provided for them. So you realize that this water system gets spoiled, and then they are like, we are waiting for those who came to build it to come and maintain it for us, which shouldn't be the case. So you realize that most of the water systems that were donated to communities in rural areas have broken down, and they are not being maintained because the people themselves do not own it. So iWASH Africa was developed based on the idea that why don't we sit down with these community people? Let us create the solution together. Let them feel that they own the system. Let them feel that like they are responsible for it. And through that way, systems that are built in rural communities can be maintained and serve its purpose. So that is what we've been doing, and that is what helped us to establish our first system. So moving forward, now we are looking at collaborating with people that can support iWASH Africa. Because yes, we don't want to say that we are looking out for money, but unfortunately, you need money to be able to help these people. You need money to be able to build such systems, and collaboration is the only way that we can go past this stage. Because I don't think any bank will be willing to give me money because one, I'm young. When you are young, they feel that the risk factor is very high because you are a young person and you don't have a solid track record. So it becomes difficult to even access funds from the bank. So connecting with NGOs, connecting with philanthropies, like let us work together, let us solve this problem together. And then that is what will benefit iWASH Africa moving forward. And Will, to add to it, Shamal has been very helpful. So yeah, so he actually opened my mind to a lot of things to start thinking about scaling up to 10 communities instead of building another system. So it's been amazing working with Shamal. Yeah.
Awesome. I think we all love technology, and Tom and I talk about this quite often, that it's usually, if not all the time, not about the technology. It's about everything else. It's, and again, you touched on what the sort of sweet spots. It's the collaboration, collective action. It is honoring the cultural and spiritual aspects of water to really have an impact that endures, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to put a well in and give you a pump. Good luck. I feel good, and end of the party. So, I think the fact that you touch on those sort of soft dimensions is part of the reason you're successful and doing well.
I think it's interesting how you said about you need to create ownership of those as water as part of the community, create ownership, transparency of the assets, not a case of investing in a solution and then kind of leaving it to potentially have issues. I think creating that ownership is a key part, but I think also the innovation side is the decentralized, the solar powered solution in the rural community. I think that's so talk to us kind of perhaps around the collaboration around that and the journey as an entrepreneur, bringing those solutions together with different technologies. That's, I think, another key part of your story and your success as well.
Yes, for technology, we looked at the people that we want to serve. What kind of technology will make them feel comfortable? What kind of technology can last the thing that they have? So we settled on the solar water system because most of these rural communities do not have access to electricity. So you building a system that uses electricity to pump the water into a storage tank will not work from the beginning. So we built this water system, brought in the solar system. So the solar drives the pumps to pump the water into a storage tank, which is distributed to the people in the community. And we've seen this to work. What the other components that we've not been able to integrate yet is the digital payment system. The digital payment system limits the way that money changes hand between individuals, and that will help us in ensuring that we have 100% accountability for the monies that are collected when water is sold to people. Yeah, so it's been an amazing journey setting this up and also learning what works and what doesn't work.
I think that digital side is really interesting. There was a project in Kenya that we wrote about recently regarding a Finnish company, Solar Water Solutions, and it took advantage of mobile payments because of the mobile phone boom, not just in urban Kenya, but in rural Kenya. Majority of the population have access to phones and the smartphone was seen as a family wallet. And I think it taps into what you're saying about accountability and traceability. Yeah. And it was creating that ecosystem. So literally you can tell the water supply was decentralized. It was solar paneled. It was around an aquifer that was contaminated, that needed filtering, cleaning up. But the mobile side was really cool because it's kind of, it gives data, it gives information on how much water is being filtered and treated and exchanged, but also that security as well. Yeah.
That's very true. Because when we started the system, we actually didn't have a water meter on it. So when we brought in the water meter, we realized that the revenue increased because now the salesperson was being checked. She knew that we know the quantity of water that she sold, and we know the amount that she's supposed to provide. So I believe when this kind of technology, this digital payment system is a very good opportunity to ensure that monies that come out of these, the sales of this water are not mismanaged, then it can help us to also build other systems and also maintain the facility.
Excellent. Well, that kind of taps into something we talk about, right? Democratized, decentralized, digital. That's a really innovative solution that brings those three kind of areas together.
it seems that, and also part of, those big trends, there's also the ability to leapfrog technologies. So, it's 2020, and maybe not installing last century technology is the best way to use money. So, the mobile payment on a phone, just seamless access to, your bank account, payment systems, and then it gets into things that, Tom, you and I talk about almost all the time, which is real-time water quality monitoring and giving people the ability to know that the water they're drinking is in fact safe, how much water they have access to, things like that. I mean, it really, in a lot of ways, sort of blows up our conventional thinking about how do we deliver safe drinking water, but also, sanitation and hygiene. We don't sort of push on that one enough, but I think there's clearly some opportunities to leverage digital technologies, smartphone technologies in that area also.
But I looked at some stats before we did the stream, and 76% of the population in Ghana are at risk of drinking potentially contaminated water sources, right? So that is an enormous figure, and I think if you can provide innovation on those solutions to address that with the real-time solution you're talking about, Will, you could really have huge impact. So Jacob, what's the next stage for iWASH? You mentioned about perhaps the challenges in attracting finance because you're a young, successful guy, which I don't think should be held against you. I mean, you've got an impeccable track record. So I think, look at that. Don't look at the age. Look at what this guy's achieved, right? It doesn't seem fair.
Hey, Tom, I think that means you and I are going to co-sign the loan.
Send the DocuSign, Jacob. I'll give my dad a call. We'll get some money. I'm just kidding. But
wait a minute. You said you're just kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacob, no, I think he volunteered.
So Jacob, what's next? I mean,
yeah.
Clearly, I mean, before the call, you mentioned literally you're working on this at the weekend. It clearly kind of consumes you. You've got this passion to create that impact to make a difference. I mean, what's the kind of next stages for iWASH?
Yeah. So what we've been working on now is to scale up to 10 more communities. So thanks to Will connected me with Shamal from South Africa, and he's been very helpful. So now what we want to do is to create added-on services to where we have provided these water systems. So for instance, the water system that we are running now, we realize that they do not have any kind of access to medicines, and these are farmers and they will need medicine for their health. So we are going to set up a licensed chemical shop that can sell over-the-counter drugs to the community as an added-on service to the water, just to make sure that our revenues are not just linear, but they can go up in terms of the curve. Yeah. So that is what we are working on now. But the whole iWASH Africa ideas have the other component that looks at clean toilets too, microflush toilets, which is supposed to be an integrated system, but because of funds, we limited ourselves to the water aspects. So we still have the toilet side to construct. So that is one other thing that we are looking at. So we are taking one step at a time, yeah, and not trying to lose focus, because they realize that you have the technology, you have the solution, you know that it can work, but you don't have the money to implement it. Sometimes it becomes like a burden or something to demoralize you, but it's just that you are trying to stay focused and know that things will not just happen. We need to work hard and make sure that whatever we've planned comes to pass. And especially know that we are young people and people will not feel comfortable investing in us.
It sounds like you bump into that maybe more often than not, Jacob, in terms of, being a young entrepreneur, a young professional, and people who might be risk adverse looking at that as a bit of a challenge. Is that fair to say that more often than not, that's what you're hitting?
Yeah, I it's not fair for young people who are trying to help in solving global challenges such as lack of clean water and safe sanitation. But I also feel the people those that can support us want to ensure that this that out is actually going to be used for what it's supposed to be used for. And as much as there are genuine young people willing to solve problems, there are other ones who also go for the money and do not do the work. So I believe it's over time we'll be able to prove what we can do. We're able to prove and for us. So though it's unfair, I understand that like things has to be that way. Yeah.
It seems to be a common challenge in terms of your age shouldn't defy your ability to attract investment. I totally get in terms of people want to make sure the investment is safe and see the return on investment, but it seems as if what you've achieved in the context goes way beyond that. So I can see the frustration you must have kind of faced so far. I mean, you're just looking 2018 IWA Young Professional of the Year, so very credible. You've built the business, the enterprise, and you phrased it in a video before. You said, we are the drivers of change, which is pretty powerful, right? In terms of the future water leaders, you are the drivers of change in terms of seeing the problem, bringing together that ecosystem, those innovators. And so I can kind of feel the frustration in your voice. In order to scale, you need the investment, but because your age, you're saying the investment is not flowing. But do you kind of say this going way beyond Ghana? Because the challenges of water, sanitation and hygiene is the global challenge. I mean, we look at Sustainable Development Goals number 6, right? Is kind of your long-term vision keeping you up at night? And you mentioned working at the weekend to kind of think this is something, let's scale and go beyond Ghana into Africa and beyond.
Yeah, so this is something that I have been thinking about and planning how it will work and talking to people about it, and actually inspiring other young people across Africa and globally to also think in that direction. And recently I was talking to a friend in South Africa working with water. So she was talking about the fact that she also wants to implement such solutions in her community, because she realized that in the outskirts of town, the rural areas, they do not have access to potable water, and nobody actually talks about them. Nobody actually says that let's provide solutions to these people. So she wants to implement the solar water system in those areas. So a lot of young people in Africa are interested in the kind of system that we run. And I named it iWASH Africa because I want to go beyond Ghana.
Jacob, it seems that, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but you being honored as the Young Professional of the Year in 2018 gave you, greater status, recognition, and so on. Maybe part of the solution to people not investing in you as much as they should because you're young is hooking up with old water professionals and going at it together, and I wouldn't put myself in that old category, of
I
course.
was going to say, Will, what do you class as old? What's the age?
Well, old is older than me, but no, but just sort of brainstorming a little bit here. Instead of trying to change people's minds, how about going to market with people that would not be viewed as a risk? I mean, that's probably debatable, but really combining forces with those folks that are established, but maybe not as entrepreneurial or innovative as you, but have the street credibility, perhaps. So maybe that's something to propose to IWA going forward, in that it's, honor the young professionals, but also say, hey, guess what? You now have a bank of mentors that are going to help you get things done in the coming year. I'm quite sure Kala would be open to this, Jacob.
IWA has been very helpful to me, especially because winning the Young Leadership Award has given me that platform to talk about iWASH Africa on different stages across the globe. I will say that I get more support from water professionals that I meet outside my country than in my country. Because in my country, then the age stuff becomes a real big issue. But in my country, you get senior professionals accommodating you, giving you advices, trying to lay you up with people that can help you. So I would say IWA has provided a great platform for me in terms of what I've done so far.
Great. Well, let's do more.
2021.
Yes.
Yeah, I think those, like you're saying, Will, connecting that ecosystem between the young entrepreneurs, and I'm not going to use the word old because it's potentially offending people. I think we should probably change the way you describe senior and experienced water professionals is perhaps a better way to say it, Will. But
seasoned,
seasoned. Yeah, no, yeah.
Seasoned, like a bride.
Yeah, exactly. So Jacob, what about, we've talked a lot about iWASH. What about the Ghana Water Company, where you're the let me get this right, Assistant Water Quality Assurance Officer, I think is your correct title. So,
yes.
So tell us about that role and kind of where you're seeing potential for innovation at the company, because you wear the two hats. So we've talked about kind of the iWASH. What about the Ghana Water Company?
Yes. So the Ghana Water Company is the sole urban water provider in Ghana. So they provide clean water to all the urban communities in Ghana. So I think as at now, Ghana Water Company is running about 91 water treatment systems, and it comes in various capacities. So I work with one of these water treatment plants. So at the water treatment plant, I'm responsible for making sure that the quality of the water meets the organization, and then everything it's in the water transmitted into the distribution systems. So that is what I do at Ghana Water. And it will interest you, talking of innovation and technology, that same thing has been helpful in Ghana Water too, when we switch from manual way of billing to electronic billing, and revenue of Ghana Water was able to move from somewhere 47 million Ghana cedis to 65 million Ghana cedis. That was a huge jump because of technology and innovation. So it's been amazing, and Ghana Water continues to expand its distribution system. So it's a company that's a future.
So I think that's really interesting because you wear the two hats. One is for the centralized company, the other one is for a decentralized community. So you get to see both sides of the fence, if it were, which is really interesting. But yeah, great to hear the capacity is almost doubled, which is a fantastic achievement. So you think in terms of the tech and potential to digitalize those assets, there's potential within the Ghana Water Company as well?
Yes, I looking at what has happened, I believe that technology and innovation has come to help us accelerate our efforts to provide clean water and sanitation to everyone in Ghana. And not alone, I think technology and innovation has been helpful to the water and sanitation industry. Even look at during these COVID times with innovation and technology, now we've been able to trace where these COVID transmissions are happening through sewage analysis of wastewater, which I believe is amazing. So I think technology and innovation has come to stay, and the better we get hold of it and try to explore what can be done with it, because I think we've not even explored about 30% of the capabilities that tech and innovation can help the water industry. So I believe that is something that we should focus on. And it's interesting for you to know that when I spoke at the Young Water Professionals Conference in Canada, there was someone on the panel with me, and from there she was like, if you want to do postgraduate studies, I'm willing to give you that opportunity. So currently I'm registered with the University of Calgary in Canada, studying a Master of Science in Civil Engineering. So it's been amazing, and then it's been nice.
Sounds like a busy chap, right, Will? Not only creating the social enterprise in the evenings and the daytime, working for the major water company, as well as doing a master's in civil engineering from Canada.
Yeah, Jacob, you're a maniac, in a good way. It's great, getting stuff done.
I love it.
So when someone tells you that you're too young and they can't take the risk, tell them that you have a lot of energy.
Sure. I always try to let them understand that in those times that young people rely on the elderly or senior professionals to get things done is fading away. Now, young people also want to contribute to solving the challenges and the problems that we see around us. We don't only want to be consumers, we don't only want to be beneficiaries, but as Tom mentioned, I really said we have to be drivers of change. We need to contribute our efforts, that energy that we have in solving problems, in bringing solutions to some of these water challenges that we have. It is only that way that we can really reach the goal that we have, achieving universal access to clean water and safe sanitation by 2030. If young people are not in the picture, then we might not achieve that goal.
Right, and I agree. My only suggestion, Jacob, as we go forth after this discussion, I would go with Tom's word, seasoned and not elderly. So Tom, this is your wheelhouse, messaging, communication. So I'm following your advice.
I think the long and short of it is, let's not use old or elderly. Those two should
elderly. That's right.
I think they're not too complimentary of people's skill sets, experience, heritage. We need to think around the wording of this this new mentoring program. Have to tread quite carefully on that one. But yeah, okay. Well, Jacob, really great chatting with you. I think you're really, your final message is really strong. It's like, young people don't want to just be consumers; they want to be participants in change. And trying to shrug off the reputation of perhaps, millennials just sitting there on TikTok. This is a message and image that needs to change. We
want to do the TikTok, we want to do the Instagram, we want to do all those stuff and also contribute to solving societal challenges. So we want that balance.
Yeah, of course. Are you on TikTok yourself? Not yet.
I hope to, maybe after getting iWASH Africa to a comfortable place, then finishing my studies, then making sure that everything is fine, I think I will sign up on TikTok.
Well, there's only so many hours in the day, and you're wearing quite a few hats as it is. So I think don't overcommit at this stage. But great stuff. Will, any kind of closing comments from you? I mean, I think you've signed up to a couple of tasks already from this one podcast.
Well, yeah,
client, so.
and I'm more than happy to do that. I would say that Jacob, what you're doing is a great example of someone who is getting stuff done. And when Tom and I launched the stream, it was to engage people that had a bias for action and wanted to change the status quo. You are a fabulous example of that. So as a seasoned water professional, I'm committed to helping you however I can.
Well, Jacob, thanks again for telling us your story and your as a driver for change. I think you say young water professionals need to be drivers of change. You certainly are one of those. So I appreciate your time on the stream. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching on our YouTube channel, and keep a ear and eye out for our next guest, who is Lumbi Malambo from JB Dondalo. And we're going to continue with the theme of innovation in Africa with a discussion on water purpose in Zimbabwe. So thank you for joining me and Will on the stream, and stay tuned for further episodes coming up. Jacob, thank you. Take care, my friend.
Jacob, be well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.